We are looking at the death of Mobutu Yimpa. There are two sides to his death, or two accounts to a death. Another account citing medical reasons, another account citing things completely different from medical reasons. And my job is to give you the two sides or the two accounts regarding his death, question both sides to see whether or not each side got some truth to it or not. And then you, as the audience, will be able to decide after leaving this broadcast informed of what is happening or what being said uh, about the death of Mobutu Yimpan. So I will beg you to stay with me in this broadcast. I'm going to do a comprehensive and detailed analysis about the two accounts regarding the late Mobutu Yimpan's death. And I want to remind you, this is focused on Liberia. We are about fairness, balance, and responsible broadcasting here. And so I don't want to blow my horn or the horn of this network, but you all know when we get it wrong, we are mates. But we always get it right. And that is why I can assure you, you can rest assured of that, I should say. So let's get started here quickly. We don't have much time to waste. I want to lay this on you. First of all, Mobutu Vlai Yimpa, sometime back now, it was reported that he has experienced stroke. First, that he fell and was rushed to the JFK Medical Center, where medical practitioners that, after looking at his condition, uh, revealed that that which happened to him was a stroke that he had experienced. That was the story that first came out. And even during that time, there was also a report that Mobutu had died. And so we'll look at the story of stroke, and we will also look at the story that he had died. How did that information come out? Some people are naming somebody who announced the death of Mobutu Yimpa in a chat room. Is that true? Now, be careful now. All the things that I'm bringing to you and I'll be analyzing and questioning are things that in our digging we came across. Many people told us, many people confided in us. So my job is to give you all that is out there in different quarters that you may not know, that you may have heard about, but I will be analyzing it and breaking it down for you. So let's continue. So two things I just said. Mobutu experienced stroke, and that it was reported he had died. So what is the truth in the first two pieces of information, first of all, that I just gave? Did Mobutu actually experience any stroke? According to our digging, yes, Mobutu did experience a stroke. At the time his illness was reported, we were told that he fell. But the question is, uh, did Mobutu experience stroke before? Was this his first time having the experience? From our research, we learned that this was the first time Mobutu experiencing anything similar or close to stroke. I was reported by medical professional at the JFK. So I'm saying to you, yes, he did experience stroke. So the next question is, how did that start? Did something trigger the stroke that he experienced? And that would be the other piece of the puzzle. Did anything, uh, trigger the stroke that he did experience? Did he consume anything? Was he under pressure? And if he was under pressure, who were the people that were pressuring him? How severe was this pressure, so much that he will have to experience stroke? And today, Mobutu is no more. We will bring you those information, all the names of those individuals has been reported. And again, mind you, we are bringing you information that out there in in so many quarters, in so many communities, in different chat rooms, information that also being reported in the local newspapers. And our goal is to not dismiss anything that is out there, but the question is to analyze it so that you, as a Liberian and as a listener, will be able to know what all surrounding, what are the pieces of information surrounding the death of Mobutu Vla Yimpa, and then you, as an intelligent person, will be able to make your judgment. So we are not calling out anything, but rather bringing you what is being reported. So making progress here. Mobutu, from what we learned, what been reported, was under severe pressure. He was under severe pressure. But let's get to what being reported, completely different from what we were told by sources within the government, as being some sources within the government as being the cause of death, which having to be the stroke. And we will get to know whether or not the whole stroke thing is something for us to really believe or buy. So let me bring you what has been reported in the paper. First of all, let me read this for you. It can be recalled on September 3rd, 2020, top government officials that included Finance Minister Samuel Twe, Nathaniel Mage, Mr. Wilhelmina Piso Sedita, Morovia City Mayor Jefferson Tamakoji, President of Liberia National Oil Company, Ms. Siafa Megre, and others attended a long meeting with the late Minister Yimpan at the Ministry of Public Works, which lasted from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So there was a meeting, as reported in the newspaper, and that meeting was attended by the officials of government that I just named as I read that little script. The thing is that we want to know what was the meeting for. And you just listening to the piece there, the meeting lasted from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So why did that meeting last that long? What was the pressing issue that they were there to discuss, for which they have to be in such meeting for that long period of time? Well, this is what the meeting was all for. According to our sources in government, the meeting on that fateful Thursday, amongst other things, was centered on the raw money, the raw fund money. Highly placed sources in government confirmed to Para newspaper that Minister Nathaniel Mage Jefferson T. Koji, Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Ditwe, and Gender Minister Piso Sedita all requested raw fund monies be directed to areas where Representative Thomas P. Fala is doing community roles. However, our sources said Mr. Mobutu Vla Yimpan told them in the meeting that doing so will be a gross violation of the PPCC Act. So now, this local newspaper is reporting that the purpose of that very long meeting that lasted from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. was for those officials of government to ask Mobutu Vla Yimpan to direct the road fund money, money intended for the constructions of roads in Liberia, to Thomas Fala's campaign effort. Really? How can these senior officials of government show up at a meeting with Minister Mobutu Vla Yimpa to direct road money to Thomas Fala campaign. We know that our current government priority number one, roads, roads, roads. And it is important for us to point out that that was not the campaign message of our government. Very important. The person who campaign message it was having to be Jose Yemamwaka. But I like the idea of roads, roads. Everybody should like that idea, and I think everybody does, because it's one of the number one challenges that we face as a country. And so for the government to have put all of effort, for the most part, in the construction of roads, to the point that our president has earned himself the name Barrow Medicine, you would think that this government will do nothing, will do absolutely nothing to divert funds intended for the construction of roads to anything other than the roads. But hey, the paper is reporting that was the goal, that was the purpose of the meeting. And why? We will let you know. But what happened during that time? Mobutu Yimpan, according to this paper, during that meeting told those officials of government that no, I can't do this. This will be a violation of the PPCC Act. The money was appropriated, set aside for road construction. That means it became legal. It became a matter of law that the money set aside, the road funds, could and can and should and always only be used for the construction of roads that have been identified, and not to divert it somewhere else. So what you are asking me is a violation of the law, the PPCC Act. I can't do it. So the question is any truth in this? Is there any truth in this? That Jefferson Koji, Finance Minister Samuel Twa, Nathaniel Mangay, Minister Wilhelmina Piso Sedita, Siafa Megre, all these senior government officials went to Mobutu to ask him to direct or divert the road funds to Thomas Fala's campaign. And if that is anything to believe, or if there's any truth in it, why Thomas Fala campaign? Why? Why Thomas Fala's campaign? What will the nation benefit when the government direct or divert funds intended for road to Thomas Fala's campaign? If Thomas Fala becomes a representative, a senator, how does that solve people's problem or solve the nation's numerous challenges? You are aware the CDC campaigned vigorously for, what's his name, Sir Joseph. Sir won that election and became a senator. Sir is still in the Senate, representing the CDC in the Senate, but the economic woes and paralysis continue in the country. So there is a lesson to be learned here. Electing somebody to a Senate or to any position in government in itself is not a solution to our problems. Now, is the CDC yet to have that understanding, for which they are doing everything to take away funds from its primary goal, which is road construction, and diverting it to a campaign of an individual whose election will not change anything in the country? Is the CDC that naive to make that decision? Folks, here I focus on Liberia. We try to question everything because we are looking for the truth. And because the last time we checked the Bible said only the truth will set us free. And it is more so to hold others accountable for what they say, what they write, and whatever they do. Because only when we hold individuals accountable, then they will be cognizant of their responsibility, and that doing so truthfully and faithfully will move our country forward. So let me not forget about lecturing you. Let's go to the story. Now let's see what happened here. The paper continues. We have reliably learned that the PPCC Executive Director Anthony Jabwe Roslyn Namwe Koa, wife of Controller General Jange Augustus Koa, also resisted the idea on grounds that it did not pass through PPCC bidding process and was never certified. There, it was at this point Mr. Twer came to his senses and said that he will not get himself into anything that will call him into question when he shall have left government. However, Minister Mangeo still resisted that the deceased minister's refusal was against the president's agenda and request issued to all government officials to use all available resources and logistics to their disposal to secure a CDC's victory in the May 10 election slated for December 8, 2020 as a victory for the CDC in the upcoming polls, with smoothing the president's chances of getting re-elected in 2023. Now that is another piece of the puzzle. So we see some disagreement here. But before I go to the disagreement, let me ask you, there is one temptation to not believe what this newspaper, the Para newspaper, is reporting. And the Para newspaper, throughout the article, continued to reference its source or sources as being very impeccable. And at some point, the Para quoted sources within the government, people in the ranks and file of the ruling party. So we see some disagreement here. Samuel 12, from what I just read, based on the resistance from the Controller General of the Republic of Liberia and also the boss of PPCC, who happen to be the wife of the Controller General, and that lady name is Jabba Rosalie Namwe Koa. Twer is like, we can't push the thing too further because one day I will be out of government and I don't want to be liable for many things. Because as you know, Mr. Twer, there are so many and numerous accusations against his person, against his character. And so this is Mr. Twer trying to say here that, hey, we can't be doing this. Since there is resistance, because we thought Mobutu and us, on the same page here. He works for the government. We all work for the government. We all know that row is priority number one for the government. And so looking at his refusal, here is an acknowledgement that, gentlemen, we have a priority as the government to divert from that priority, to divert funds from that priority, to electing Thomas Fowler is more like abandoning our priority. If anything that the people is saying is truth, then there is Samuel 12 saying, you know what? I think Mobutu may have a point here. But you saw that McGill has been reported by the people, and if this is true, they say no, 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 no. We must ensure that Thomas Fowler gets elected. We must ensure that victory because there is a mandate. There is a there is an agenda. And what is that agenda? Let me read that for you again so you can, let me refresh your memory. However, Minister Mangay insisted that the deceased minister refusal was against the president's agenda and request issued to all officials to use all available resources and logistics to their disposal to secure a victory because such victory was smoothing the president re-election comes 2023. So you should understand that here there is twisting wisdom in trying to agree with Mobutu on the government priority, if this story is true. And I continue to maintain if this story is true. And there is Bangay saying, look, we have a mandate, we have an agenda from the chief executive to ensure the victory of Thomas Fowler. The victory of Thomas Fowler is not just any other victory. It will pave the president re-election comes 2023. It will smoothen or it smooths the president's re-election come 2023. And let me ask this question. Is there any truth in that? What is the guarantee that should CDC win that seat, that Senate seat from Darius Dillon, then their 2020 victory will be easy? What is the truth? Is there any logic? I mean, how does the election of an individual can automatically guarantee the election of another in a subsequent election? How? Those of you who are politically minded or put on your political caveat, how does the election of one guarantee or secures the re-election of another at subsequent time? Political actors will have many answers. Thomas Fowler becomes senator. He's in the Senate. The president gets his way on whatever bill that he sends to the Senate. He will be able to confirm all the president nominees will get confirmed with no questions asked. Darius Dillon has been more like the person, erecting some checkpoints here and there. We saw because of Dillon's, work in the Senate, there are many people that could not get confirmed. An example is Zolizo Tapla Davis, who could not get confirmed. And we also saw that prior to Dillon's going into the Senate, we listened to the confession of my county Senator Peter Comer, who said that they had to swallow the bitter pill and just confirm just about anybody the president said, even though he knew those people were not qualified anyway. That was a confession from my county senator, Peter Comer, a well-educated man, a medical doctor by profession. Somebody, even when he leaves government today, will survive. But yet, he will submit himself and confirm just about anybody that was sent. And so, the other piece here is that, look, but in the absence of Dillon, the president was getting almost everybody confirmed anyway. Almost everybody. Right? And so what different with Thomas Faladu. When DeLong was not there, they got almost all their nominees confirmed. So what difference it would make? Again, I'm asking questions here and there. But let's go to the story here, folks. Let's go to the story here and be very fast. Para Online News also gathered that after the Thursday meeting ended in the conference room, Minister Nathaniel McGill, Samuel Twer, Jefferson Koji walked in Minister Mobutu Vla's office immediately when Jeff saw the VP, Joel's picture behind Minister Yimpan's executive chair, while President Weah's picture placed at the extreme. He alarmed and asked why should the VP's picture be placed behind the deceased minister's executive chair instead of President Weah. At this point, there the late minister got pissed off and a serious confusion erupted among them. And considering the bitter nature of the commotion, coupled with threats issued against his life by McGill and Koji, Twer had to intervene to calm the situation. Again, another piece of the puzzle, if this is anything truth at all. So there was a confusion. Again, if what the paper is reporting is nothing else but the truth, then we had a confusion in Mobutu's office. Why? Because Mobutu, behind his chair, like this my chair that you see here, and assuming the Hour of Politics logo is Joel Howard Taylor's picture in Mobutu's office. And Jefferson Koji look at that picture and say, but why not the president? Why not the chief executive? Why would it have to be the VP? Is this man loyalty to the VP or to the president? Jefferson saw that as a complete affront to the president, thereby questioning the loyalty of Mobutu Vla Yimpan. Even though Mobutu, in his own weak ways, or to the best ability, has been the one implementing the government roads construction agenda. And yet, because of it, if this is true, Jefferson Koji will dare question Mobutu's loyalty. And because of picture, the president's picture, there was a commotion that erupted in Mobutu's office. Mobutu got pissed and he said he can't take it anymore. So mind you now, earlier I told you whether or not the issue of stroke, and I will come to that Mobutu has experienced, as was being reported by medical professionals at JFK. And I've asked the question, was that triggered by anything like tension, pressure that might have been coming from other people within the government? Did this pressure trigger the stroke that he had experienced? Or was it triggered by something else? And I will come to that something else. That something else, as the story continues, having to also be that Mobutu ate a phage. And that phage was poison. And also that there was cyanide found in Mobutu's body. But I will get to that. I want to introduce that so that you will know where we are heading. And when I say where we are heading, I'm not telling you that I'm leading you to a conclusion as to whether or not Mobutu was killed. My job as a talk show host is to bring you all the different pieces of information surrounding Mobutu's death question them, evaluate them, and see whether you, based on my analysis and questions and evaluation, can make your own judgment. And mind you, there is also a prayer statement from the family. We will bring you that. So let me progress quickly. So as I was saying about the picture, commotion came about. President Weah picture was like, you see the sign on this side of my screen, that's Weah picture, and then you have our picture, right behind Mobutu like this. And Jefferson Koji would not take that. That his political godfather, President Weah, will have to be, because he saw that as a disrespect. And again, I want to maintain, if this report by this paper is true, and the paper is not only citing sources that confided in them from any other place, but also from within the government. So the question is, was this commotion and pressure, this commotion that started in the office, this pressure, did it lead Mobutu to experiencing a stroke, or did something else trigger that? Let me progress. Our sources who hinted us said it was during said uproar Minister Yimpong poured out all what he had in his mind and what he had kept after hearing BS. I don't want to pronounce that word here, but I'll abbreviate it BS in the public. BS in the public said about his character by Mange, Twe, Koji, and others. During the argument concerning the VP's picture, the deceased minister told Minister McGill and Koji that you guys can't dictate to me how to run my office and who picture I put on my chairs or not. There, McGill accused the deceased minister of taking kickbacks from contractors and saving aid for VP US campaign against President Weah. This is where McGill succeeded in getting President Weah himself angry with the late minister because of the malicious conjecture, the maliciously conjecturalized he Weah was fair with by his minister of state. It's getting interesting, folks. If what this paper is reporting is true, and there are sources within the rank and file of the ruling establishment that have hinted as well the truthfulness of this story. But do I believe it because people have confirmed it? I keep that to myself, and you keep that to yourself. But let's follow the story. So the argument got out of hand to the point that now Mange could no longer keep his peace. And he had now accused Mobutu Yimpang of taking kickbacks. Kickbacks meaning that every time Mobutu awarded a contract to a contractor, meaning company to build a road, Mobutu will get some money back. It's like, hey, I can't give you the $1 million contract except you guarantee for me maybe $100,000. That way you can get you can get a $900,000, and then I think now the 900,000. I'm not good with numbers, so let me stay away from the numbers a little bit. So Nathaniel Mange was accusing or had accused Mobutu of taking kickback, meaning that for each time he awarded a contract, he would demand some money from the person being awarded the contract before that person can be awarded the contract, and that person would like to do it because whether or not he received about 95% of what that was budgeted for the road, he could still manage it and make business or make some money other than getting anything. And that kickbacks that Mobutu was getting, Mobutu was saving that money so that it can be used for George Howard Taylor presidential campaign. That is a serious and wild accusation, very explosive. Just as on the other hand, accusations against not only McGill, not only Twe, not only Koji, or Wilhelmina Peso Sedita are also explosive and wide enough for anybody to say, wow, how can this be possible? And let me tell you this, and this is important. We should not dismiss, I will emphasize this, we should not dismiss any of these accounts. None we should dismiss. And why? The reason is Mobutu was a senior official of government. It is the government responsibility, if at all, what this story, the paper is reporting is true. Because from our indication, this paper is trying to lead us to the conclusion that Mobutu was killed, which I will bring to you further. That is what the paper is trying to tell us, and they are narrating the story, the circumstances that led to the ultimate action. So this is a serious allegation. This is a very explosive and inflammatory, if I want to pull it that way, accusation against these characters, these senior officials of government, Koji, Twe, Mangil, Wilhelmina Piso Serita, Siafa Megre, and maybe others, according to the paper. These are serious accusations. And so the other thing is that, as I'm trying to say that is important, we should not dismiss anything because it is the government responsibility that when there is a report of killing against a citizen, it is the government responsibility to take that information and not dismiss it because it having to do with the death of an individual. And in this case, Mobutu was not an ordinary person in the government. This is the guy who was the first soldier for the government in their number one priority, the construction of roads. And this is a paper, a newspaper that is, certificated, certified by the Liberian government, licensed by the Liberian government, and operating in the country, is reporting this story in a bravery faction. If you look at these accusations, these lines in this story, you would think that anybody will not want to report these kind of things if at all they are completely false. Why would somebody be so brave to concoct these narratives, these pieces of this puzzle of this story concerning Mobutu's death? Why will somebody sit down comfortably and cleverly tell this kind of story, not only telling us that Mobutu was killed, but naming names of individuals within the government? What got this person so brave, this newspaper brave, to do so? Knowing that if they are telling a lie, the rates getting decertified in the country, their license being pulled by, getting sued, and the privilege to operate their newspaper in the Republic of Liberia. Why would they want to risk this much to tell a lie, knowing the consequences of the lies thereof? Why would they want to do it? Think about it, folks. Oh, you think the people will just get out and tell these lies, knowing that what they're doing can get them into a serious trouble? Let's take a little backdrop. Henry Costa, to his credit, is the most followed Liberian. He got so popular on his talk show. He been very bombastic against the government. He never held back. He holds back. He doesn't hold back, to put it right. On his many stories against the government, what happened to him? He does not have a radio station today. That radio stations were reached in so many counties. So he could reach those who don't have the capacity to be online and listening to Facebook. With their radio, even if your battery was that dead, you could still listen to a radio. I mean, I was in Liberia. I remember having my little radio going through tough time, and then sometimes I would find some battery in my yard or my old battery that I left somewhere. I go back to it, I put in my radio. It would still play, and I could still listen to Star Radio, Radio Veritas at the time during the Charles Taylor administration. So when it comes to the Charles Taylor administration, the radio was my friend. So I can tell you all about Charles Taylor. The point I'm making is this newspaper saw what happened to Costa. As a result of what, according to the government, was a bunch of lies that Costa, was telling all along. And so the government did everything. Many people will argue legally, but I'm not sure of that. And they shut him down. And today, he does not have a radio station. And this guy was the most popular, or has been, not was, but has been the most popular talk show person. In other words, we can say the newsmaker in the country. He got shut down. Does the people now know that? So I'm saying this to say that this is a newspaper that understands the consequences should it tell a lie of this magnitude. Not only accusing one person, but accusing numerous government officials. And these officials we are talking about, they are not just any ordinary officials of government. These are the confidants of the president. Not only the confidants of the president, these are the brains behind the CDC government. From what we know, from what I know, Minister McGill, Minister Tua, Jefferson Koji, these are the three closest to the president. And Siafa Megre, who is also being accused, Wilhelmina Piso Sedita, who is also being accused, these two ladies also have what I want to describe as a significant connection with the president. These two have access to the president that maybe other people in the government don't have. And these are the individual. These are the pillars of the CDC government. These are the people who breathe weird. And the people who dare to accuse them in this faction. And you think they are telling the lie, owing to the fact that this lie could get them into a much bigger trouble than any of us expect. And you think the people will do that? But then let's flip on the other side. Let's flip on the other side. So why up to now, given the egregious nature of this accusation, that the government officials being accused, not a single one of them, to the best of my knowledge, have come up to vehemently debunk these narratives reported by these people. Why? Why would somebody malign your character, link you as being the one responsible for the death of a minister? The minister that was the number one implementer of your number one priority. A newspaper in Liberia is accusing you of being the one responsible for his death. And you have not had a major press conference to debunk, to deny, and dismiss this story. You have never. If you did, maybe I missed that. And if I missed that, then I want to say I'm sorry. But as we speak, up to press time, or up to this broadcast time, I did not come across any reputable action on the part of these officials of government denying the truthfulness of this report against their character. This is a serious accusation against these people. Your Mobutu, the man you depended on for the role, people are accusing you of being the one responsible for his death, and that you person him with faith, and that's how he died. And the connection that I told you that this whole narrative definitely suggests is that Mobutu, they brought him food, and there was a fish, and that he ate the fish. Then immediately after eating the fish, that was when he started experiencing illness. He started sweating profusely. He started having mood swing. And later on started vomiting as he traveled away from the building where they had the food that he ate. He started sweating. He started vomiting. And the connection is that it was the person that was placed into the food, if the story is true, that had triggered the stroke that he experienced. And Mobutu was flown out of the country. Our government spent 150,000 United States dollars. That was what was reported to have been taken from the treasury to fly Mobutu out of the country for immediate medical care. And that's what the government did. So the question here also is, if the government officials that are being accused, the fact that Samuel Tuer had to be part of the decision making, and so is McGill, the President Chief of Staff and Minister of Presidential Affairs. These two, there has never been a decision in the government without their knowledge. So if all these guys were involved, they wanted Mobutu to get killed, why would they release $150,000 for her kill? Can we ask that question? And again, folks, let me tell you, I said earlier that it is only the truth that will set us free. We don't know who is telling the truth. But we also should not dismiss anything we hear about Mobutu's death. One, because he was a citizen of the country. His death was abrupt. He has no history being reported about having a stroke before. There was no illness. He was well. And out of a sudden, there was a meal, food that he ate. And then he started feeling sick. And then he started having mood swing. And then he vomited. And then the stroke. And then the hospital. And then to Ghana. And then there's a medical report. And the medical report is yet to be disclosed to the public. The question is, why? And I want to believe these officials of government that have been accused, They hold it dearly that they have no hands in Mobutu's death. So if they have no hands in Mobutu's death, the fact that they've been accused that the person Mobutu, what is the best way that they can exonerate themselves? In addition to coming forth and dismissing this story, what is the other option or the best ways possible that they can disclose or tell the Liberian people that the story out there accusing them of being the perpetrators of this crime that have led to Mobutu's death? I'm asking the question, what is that way? What is that option that they have? My guess is that option is the medical report. Because a medical report will tell why and how or from what somebody dies. That's what a medical report will tell or tells. So this is my opinion on this one. If I were in the positions of these accused officials of government, I would demand that that medical report be made public. Because this accusation, this allegation is graved. That my hand is in the hand of the death of my colleague. And I will say that surrounded, as we will say in Liberia, and say nothing to exonerate myself. And I'm aware that there is a medical report. And I believe that that medical report did not say anything to the contrary. And I'm aware of that report. And I will not allow the report to come out. And it's been days and days and weeks. And I'm just sitting there. When I know I did nothing wrong. When I know there is a medical report that can exonerate me from these wild accusations being reported by these people. And yet I will sit there and say it is the privacy of the family. The family is not being accused. I am being accused. I have so much power in the government. After all, the government was the one that showed up the bill or the cost of Mobutu's medical expensive. It is the government that is being accused here. I, as an official of government, being accused here. Where Mangil, Koji can get anything in this government. In any government, they gotta be the players, the powerful players. It is universal. There's nothing to envy them about. There got to be those who call the shots, and they having to be the guys. And you are the one a newspaper is accusing in this manner, with this severity. And you will not demand that medical report to be made public. I would think the fact that these guys, I'm assuming that they believe they did not do anything wrong, and that these accusations or this accusation is false and it's misleading and baseless. The medical report will confirm their innocence and is the only document with that authority to exonerate them. And you know about that medical report. And you know the medical report is in the hand of the family. And not just every member of the family, is within the hand of an official of government also, who having to be a subordinate to Mr. Twe, who is also accused. Ojuku Nyimpan is the brother of Mobutu Vla Yimpan. He is an assistant minister at the Ministry of Finance. His boss is Samuel Twer. His boss is being accused. Why can't you go to your honor man and say, hey, I know this may be a matter of privacy for the family, but you have to understand here. I am being accused by a newspaper. You have the medical report in your possession. Can we make it public so that the Liberian people can know whether or not what the newspaper is saying is the truth? Why has Samuel Twer not done that? Why has McGill not demanded that? Why has Koji not demanded that? I believe it is their right to do so because they have been accused here. And the person in whom possession the medical report is, I will say he is their colleague. Their character, their reputation, their future is at stake here, linked to the death of a senior official of government. This is not a simple and mere allegation or accusation. It is grave, it is serious, it is explosive, and so you will think these gentlemen and ladies being accused would demand that medical report that tells the truth, maybe the truth about their innocence, will be made public. I believe if they demand that from Ojukwu Nyimpa, who is just a subordinate, we know how these things play out in Liberia. Ojukwu will make that report available. Let me progress. However, our highly placed sources, Para newspaper continues, in the hierarchy of the ruling CDC told us that McGill has a company called Quality Construction Company, QCC, managed by his relative called Kevin. The company was given the contract to pave the small St. Michael Road through Patient Shop and Town Hall. But the quality of work done on the road is very poor. According to our sources, Minister Mange's company, Minister Mange's company and Westwood started the road together. SB of Westwood completed his stretch of road through Tusafi, but McGill failed to complete his. He ate the money and defrauded the government. This is the second serious accusation against McGill by the newspaper. So the paper is telling us this thing is deeper than we think. And I want to maintain, if anything that this paper is saying is true. And this paper is putting everything on the line. And you know it. Paper is putting everything on the line. The paper is saying that Nathaniel Mange, our Minister of State for Presidential Affairs / Chief of Office to the President. And some people with political eyes are saying he is a de facto president. That's not me saying it. Look, I do analysis on political issues. And I do a comprehensive analysis on them. And that's my job. And your job is to make a decision after I have baked the cake for you. So let me progress. McGill is being accused again by these people. First, that he's in the know, that he participated in an act that led to the death of Mobutu. The paper again is saying McGill has a company. And the company is called Quality Construction Company, QCC. And that company was awarded a contract by the Ministry of Public Works or by Mobutu Yimpan, the minister. And the quality of work done at the time was poor. In other words, the job was more like did not happen at all. And the paper is saying the last sentence there, he ate the money and defrauded the government. The paper is accusing Minister Nathaniel Magelt of eating money that was given to his company to construct a piece of road from St. Michael, small St. Michael to Patient Shop. That the minister ate the money. That's a serious accusation. The paper did not only say he ate the money, he defrauded. That's the word they use. Defrauded. And fraud is a crime. Eating money intended for a purpose, for the advancement of government by an official of government, is called corruption. It's called stealing. The paper is saying Nathaniel Magay did that. And Mr. Magay is comfortably sitting now in a country. How dare you be accused not only of one thing, as though the accusation that you were part of a plan to kill Mobutu, as though that is not enough. You being accused that your company was awarded a road contract valued in thousands of dollars, if not millions, and then you ate the money and defrauded government. Before you sat there, or you are sitting there, you can't ask for the medical reports to be put out there so that the public can read to know that that which the paper is saying is false. The paper is also accusing you of having a complaint, taking money from government to construct a piece of road, did a poor job, ate the money, and defrauded government. And yet, you are silent. And we will get Magel's account very quickly. This story is deep. And so bear with me. Let me break it down for you folks. So Magel, the complaint, according to this paper, is called Quality Construction Company, QCC. And that the paper, the company is being managed by Magel relative by the name Kevin. Paper is giving some specific pieces of information. So let me bring this P to you. The fact that Mobutu was a senior government official. This paper is reporting this. That Magel, Twer, Koji, Piso, and others, Jafar Megre, were all part of this plan. And this is how they executed the plan. They carried food, and the food they carried, when they carried the food in the gathering, it was all set. The food was packaged, and each person's name was on that person's food. So Mobutu saw his food, his name was already on it. Mobutu Vlayipa, according to some sources. And Mobutu ate his, and this is what got him on the ground today. That got him. He's not on the ground yet, but we can say that figuratively because he died. He's going to go on the ground anyway. So, why is the government? So, I think the question I want to ask is, why will you say the government should do in this case? Sue the paper? Shut the paper down? Take the paper to court? Call the paper in for questioning? Where they're getting their information from? None of that is being done. I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just asking you why you think the government should do. This is why I think the government should do. Saying you can't answer the question. I would think that the government should work with the people. Because the paper is reporting how a senior government official and a citizen of Liberia was killed. So I, as a government, will work with that paper to prove what it is saying. And that if there is any truth in what the paper is saying, then we can know for a fact whether or not Mobutu was killed. And if the paper can't prove what is said, then of course the people can be held responsible legally. It can be held accountable legally for such a report. Because if the paper tell a big lie like this, senior member of the government died, and you concoct a story, and you think you're going to get away with this. So I'm saying to you that if I were advising the government, that is what I would do. I will work with the people to see if there is any truth in what is saying, and that if these individuals actually did what the paper is reporting, then we can hold them accountable. Because killing people is not good, it's wrong. Not only is evil, it is against the law. So why should officials of government be involved into that? And mind you now, we already have deaths of other officials of government that happen under mysterious circumstances. The government is embroiled with those deaths, and the government said it had called for help from the Americans. We don't know how true that was. And I'm saying this because the government that asked the American for help, while there is yet to be evidence of the American on the ground and helping, the government has charged people with the death of Nyeswa. The government charged Nyeswa's, according to what's been reported, a female friend has been responsible. They charged her with murder. And some of his friends who were with him that night, and I understand live with him in the house, the government is also holding them accountable for the death. So where are the Americans? Where are they? Anyway, I don't want to go into legal territory where I am very, very limited. So can this individual come and debunk this serious and grave accusation against their person? Let me progress, folks. I will break this thing down, even if it take me 1 hour, 30 minutes, I will do so because it's important. We are talking about life here. The death of Gifty, the death of Abbott, the death of Mobutu, the death of Nyeswa. These deaths are very, 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 very significant. These deaths are very, very troubling. Very, very troubling. And so we have to be very sure, we have to be very, very sure that we don't continue to have this kind of situation. And that when anything like that comes, we must investigate. Because the deaths of those 4 auditors have sent a sharp wave. It has a damning impact on the image and the reputation of the government. So the government should not be taking any death news lightly. We are yet to get anything come out of the missing boys. I'm not saying the government is responsible for that, but it is the government responsibility to bring closure to these kind of reports. So the government plate is already full with mysterious deaths. This government was accused about the death of Matthew Innes, and that one just ended in that manner. And these things continue. And now Mobutu, the guy who was the chief implementer of the government priority, rose, and the government would not act. And this official would not even demand or dismiss or deny these allegations. Serious one too. And they are sitting there. Again, I maintain my opinion on this, that the government should work with the people. Let the people prove it. Let this paper prove it. Because the paper is putting everything on the line. This paper license can be revoked for telling a lie, if at all this is a lie. And dead people may be telling the truth, and that truth may be of help in getting the truth about what happened to Mobutu. And it is not only that, the paper is quoting sources, and these sources are pointing the accusing figures as senior officials of government, very close to the president. And so they won't get to the bottom of this and work with the people. That is my advice. Let's make progress, folks. However, it was evident that Mobutu's consistent reminder of QCC, that is the Quality Construction Company of Nathaniel Mangill, to have the small St. Michael Road completed landed he, Mobutu, into trouble with Minister Mangill to the extent of meeting his early demise. The paper continued to report, and the report is pointing the fingers at Mangill and others to his early demise. In order for Mangill to have total control of the Ministry of Public Works and ensure his company gets more community road contracts. Also, in the late Mobutu's office, not minister, but also in the late minister's office, Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Tambakoji was seen demanding road contracts from the deceased Public Works minister. Too many things in this paper. Is this guy telling the truth? Is this paper reporting factual information? And if these pieces of information, these narratives, these revelations are all false, why are these officials of government sitting down and doing nothing? The paper, according to its sources here, saying these guys were the one that killed Mobutu. And not only that, Mangill got contract, he ate the money, defrauded government. Koji too is demanding. Koji, can you come and dismiss this thing or clarify the thing and deny this thing? Mobutu is dead, and yet these guys will not come out to say anything. I mean, it's easier to to lie on a dead person. Well, maybe I shouldn't go into that territory before people accuse me or try to politicize the issue. But I'm not politicizing the issue. I am breaking it into pieces for you. So you saw right there. Is there any truth in the other accusation that Jefferson Koji was demanding road contract from the government? Why would Jefferson demand a road contract? Does he have a construction company too? So you see, there are a lot of questions here that we can't find answers for. Does Jefferson, there is one thing to not have faith in this government and so just believe everything. And I told you, my role here is to question everything so as to get to the bottom of what really happened. That is my role. Does Jefferson too? Because the paper said Mangill has a road construction company, quality construction company, headed by his relative called Kevin, a water contract, ate the money in the federal government. Then he's saying also another accusation, Jefferson Koji demanding road contract. Does Jefferson have a construction company too? How is this done? Anybody can ask for a contract because of their proximity with the president, or because they are the one calling the shot? Is that what it is? This is very serious, man, folks. Koji Mangill 12, you guys has been accused of something very, very beyond human understanding. You must come and tell us what is your side of the story. So let me put it in the other way, folks. So Mangill, 12, Jefferson Koji, Wilhelmina Piso Seditav, Shafab Megre, these are powerful players in the government, right? Yes, they are. Mangill is more like a de facto president. 12, has immense influence in the government. So is Jefferson and others. So if these people, because the conclusion to their proximity, to their power, and their influence in this government is more like they control the president. They, together with the president, decide what happens in the government. Right? That is my conclusion. And there's so much truth in that. The president cannot govern alone. He needs able confidant, people that he relies on, people he trusts. And these are the individuals that we know for a fact. And so, with that fact and truth established, powerful Twer, powerful Mange, powerful Koji, who together or along with the president make the decision in the country. If Mobutu threatens them in any way, if Mobutu refusal is an affront to the president's agenda for Thomas Fala to get elected, and that they wanted Mobutu to make the road funds available to be used for Thomas Fala's campaign, and Mobutu is refusing. And these guys have this so much enormous power and influence on the president. Could they not have just asked the president to fire him? That is another piece, folks. Couldn't these guys with this level of influence on the president ask the president to have fired him or to fire him? They could have done so. Don't tell me it's not possible. Don't tell me it's only possible that they can kill him. Why would these guys want to have blood on their hands when legally the president possesses the power to fire? When also in terms of government operation, based on their influence and proximity with the president, they can advise the president for the minister to be fired. Why couldn't they have asked the president to fire him? And that they want to kill him so that they will have blood on their hands. Why would they want to do so? The president, the government just had a reshuffle. Wesley Tappe was one of those who were caught in the reshuffle process. He was taken from the Ministry of Commerce. Who knows what's happening there? We know process have been completely under control. Out of control. We know that Tappe was the one in charge of this stimulus package, where they're supposed to give rights to our people. The rights has not been delivered to, if not 50 or 60 or 80% of the people that were targeted. And there is a report that was leaked from the IAA that the road fund, there was some foul play, and there is anything to believe, then that could be the reason why the people are yet to get a rest. Because there's no shortage of rest. So if the money that was provided, if that money is still available, why can't they just go to the warehouses and buy the rest and distribute the rest to the people? In the very Morovia, let's forget about the counties. So something tells me that something was not right there with that money and Minister Tappe's ability to be able to effectively distribute the rest. And so in the wisdom of these guys who make the decisions, Minister Tappe needed to be reshuffled. And he was reshuffled. And if you bring in the southeastern side, Tappe is from southeast. He was not killed, he was reshuffled. If you bring in Mabutu Vla Yimpan, he's also from the southeast, but yet he was killed. Again, my job is to question everything that has been reported in an attempt to get to nothing but the truth. What are the possibilities here? What options these guys had? They had a legal option, an administrative option that is legal, to have advised the president to fire Mobutu. And then they will get their way. Sam Mobutu was the one refusing to give them the money so that they will be able to successfully execute the mandate of the president. That Thomas Fowler should be elected as senator at all costs. They must use any resources and logistics available to their disposal for him to be elected. If Mobutu was standing in the way, as the paper is reporting, why couldn't they just advise the president that he need to be replaced so that he will get access to the money? Is the fear is that, okay, if they have done it that way, Mobutu will stay half alive, and Mobutu will say, look, I was fired because I didn't want them to use the road fund for Thomas Fowler election. That would be the story Mobutu will be telling, and that would be an exposure of the government, right? And so they decided not to take that legal, that political decision. They decided they would not take it, right? Is there a possibility with that? Some people will say yes. And so, what makes it prudent now that, okay, the best thing to do is just kill him. When we kill him, that means he will no more be in our way. That's one. And second of all, he will not be able to expose that after he left, we used the money, or the reason he was taken out of the way was because we wanted access to the road fund money, and he would not give us access. And that the government now, or these players, these individuals, they don't want that information to come out. And so, in their wisdom, if anything is true about what the paper is reporting, they felt, do you think those guys made a decision that, well, the best thing to do is to just kill him? And in the first place, let's look at the pattern of mysterious deaths in the country. We heard about Abbott, we heard about Gifty, we heard about Fambutu, we heard about Newswap. 4 people mysteriously, some people reporting got killed. And I'm saying that they were killed, or some of them were killed. Some people are saying they were killed. The president confirmed that Abbott and Gifty were killed in the president's own words, in his church at the fucking con. He said they were killed. So who killed them? Why were they killed? Somebody will say they were killed because they wanted information to be conceived. Is that the case with Mobutu here? Is that the pattern of the government? Is that the pattern of some key players within the government? Let us not indict the entire government, not indicting. Let us not say that. All right. But this is what the people. So I'm looking at pattern here. I'm looking for pattern. Is that the pattern of the government that those who are in our way, firing them is not the best option because they will stay talk, thereby exposing us. And the best way to conceal our operation is to kill them because the death doesn't talk? Is that it? And if that is what it is, can we point to a pattern here? Some people will say yes, the auditors. Somebody will say yes. Or what's his name? Matthew Innes. Some people will say yes. I remember one other guy called Corley died under mysterious circumstances. He was the first person that got killed. I just can't remember his first name, but I think his last name is Corley. He died under mysterious circumstances too. Is that the pattern? Is this how the government is operating? Because so why, if their pattern is anything to believe, then why should we believe it? So let's look at the issue of this guy or Wamplu, the passport guy, who successfully escaped. And after he escaped, what happened? He continued to release information about the passport scandal. I'm not saying that guy is innocent. There's no way he too could be innocent in the passport scandal when he having to be the passport director. But when the guy escaped, the guy alarmed that he was being pursued, that people wanted him. People wanted to kill him. So he escaped. What happened? He released a lot of information incriminating the government. So is the are these people acting that, look, if we don't kill they will still say something and it will be an embarrassment. Is that why it is? I don't know. So now I have given you patterns, I'm giving you possibilities, and I've also raised some questions here and there. Let me progress, folks. We are almost to the end here, folks. We are almost to the end here. According to our high place sources, right after the heated argument between the deceived minister and Nad McGill, he left his office with the anger and immediately got in his car going home. While going home, the late minister Yimpa started vomiting from New Georgia Junction to Bannersville after eating the portion food given to him right after the meeting with McGill and others. So you know now when, according to the paper, he ate the food. Then Minister Yimpan told his driver and security in the car not to carry him to the hospital, but rather home to rest. While the driver drove the late Minister Yimpan at his Bannersville residence, he entered his room, but in no time he fell off in his room and was rushed to the hospital. There you have it, folks. There you have it. There you have it. So let me go a little faster here. Let me go a little faster here. So let me bring you another piece here. The first time it was all over Facebook in Liberia. Twer was the one who posted in CDC chat room and it went viral. We were at JFK sleeping on bare floor day and night. Then Twer only contact to us was to know whether Vlad died or alive. He posted about the minister death in CDC chat room. That's how Andres Bility and others started running with it that day on Facebook, our sources said. The Power News has been reliably informed that in Minister Mange's bid to have total control over the Ministry of Public Works, he has been desperately seeking information from the late minister's deputy down to low-class employee, but no avail because of the cordial working relationship Mobutu instituted with his deputies. All right, let's continue on there.
Look,
however, when Power News contacted Minister Mangue to clarify his role in such grave allegations, he resorted to insult peddling with Associate Editor Julius T. Jason II. You are a fool. I don't care for your BS. I do not address stupidity and nonsense, Minister Mangue told editor Julius T. Jason II. Also, for Jefferson Koji, his fool ran aimlessly. When the editor sent a message, he did not reply. Also, Power reached out to Twer, but he did not answer his call as well. So, folks, this is the account of the Paros newspaper regarding the death of Mobutu Yimpa. Power newspaper is accusing Nathaniel Mangue, Jefferson Koji, Samuel Twer, and others of being the one who carried food to Mobutu Yimpa, and the person that food, that's how he got sick, and that is how he died. And that they did it because they wanted Twer to make, Mobutu to make available raw funds that he had control over for use in Thomas Farah's campaign for the Senate seat in Moserado County. And Yimpan refused because Yimpan believed that that was against the PPCC Act, and that would be a violation, and that he would not do that. And so, because he was in their way, and these guys were more than doing everything to fulfill the president, according to the paper, agenda to ensure the election of Thomas Farah, they needed to find a way. And the paper is saying that way was for them to poison him so that he could die, and that's what happened. That is what the paper is saying. And I'm asking, could they not have asked the president to fire him? But again, that is what the paper is saying. And up to now, these guys, when the paper contacted them, um, for Mangill, he was very harsh. He started insulting them. He said, "You are a fool. I don't care about your BS. I do not address stupidity and nonsense." That was what Mangill said. For Mangill, Jefferson Koji, as for Jefferson Koji and Nathaniel, Samuel Twer, the both of them did not answer. And up to now, there has not been any pressed statement released from all of these officials of government that have been accused of the numerous accusations trying to debunk, deny, or disassociate themselves from what has been reported by the newspaper. So that is the side of the paper. That is the side of the story that this paper is reporting, that these people, that Mobutu was killed by the individual that it named in its paper. It did not also accuse them of Mobutu's death. The paper also accused them of other things, including McGill defrauding government and Jefferson Koji too asking for contract, demanding contract from Mobutu, and Jefferson Koji also saying that um, Mobutu has no right to have Joel Howard Taylor picture behind his executive desk and non-president wear picture. So these are grave allegations, and the government, the individuals, now we shouldn't use the government, the individual has yet to respond to these serious and grave allegations that have been reported by this paper. And so, folks, this is where we are. Serious allegation brought against this individual by the newspaper. This newspaper have everything on the line. If the newspaper is telling a lie, the paper can be sued. The paper license can be revoked for accusing senior level officials of killing another senior level official, accusing the minister of presidential affairs of defrauding government and eating money intended for road, accusing Jefferson Koji of trying to demand road contract. These are serious accusations. These are serious and grave accusations, and it is important that these people try to clear their name, because I tell you, man, I don't know where this is coming from, and I don't know where this is going. We already have 4 deaths that happen under mysterious circumstances. We are yet to get closure in those deaths, and then we have this one again. This is a serious issue, and my job here is to analyze it. But let's come to the family issue a press statement. Let's read the press statement from the family. And the press statement here was signed by Ojukwu Yimpan, an assistant minister at the Ministry of Finance, who is a subordinate to Mr. Samuel Twer, and he signed this statement that purportedly came from the family. The family has the medical report. The medical report will tell us how Mobutu died or what was the cause of death, but that report is yet to be made public. That report, I believe, will exonerate um, these individuals that are being accused, these officials that are being accused of any wrongdoing, should the medical report say anything contrary to what this paper is reporting, quoting reliable sources here. So let's read the statement from the family quickly. Let's read a statement from the family quickly. Let me read it here. It's a long statement, but I will try to be as fast as I can. So bear with me. Statement by the Yimpan family for immediate release. The family of the late Senator Mobutu Yimpan has observed with disgust and utter indignation attempts by some individual and online publication to smear the memories of their beloved son, brother, and father by attributing his cause of death to factors that are far removed from the truth. The untimely passing of Senator Yimpan is a national tragedy that we cannot allow to be used by anyone to achieve his or her parochial interests or objectives. The family also wants to make it categorically clear that at no time has any of its members spoken with or communicated with any media institution or other individuals about the circumstances leading to the passing of Senator Mobutu Yimpa. By extension, the family has never authorized anyone to speak on its behalf in these matters. Anyone or group doing so is impersonating and should not be taken seriously. In the age of fake news, conspiracy theories, and character assassinations without a scintilla of truth, we beseech the public to be mindful of individuals whose sole intent is to use a family tragedy to achieve their selfish aims and objectives. The family statement continues. It saddens the family to know that individuals with no connection to the bereaved family are concocting blatant falsehoods or intended to create confusions and sow seeds of discord. Vlad was a peaceful and respectful man. And we encourage all those who want to honor his memory to respect the riches of the family and desist from propagating falsehood and conjectures. When you lie about the minister's cause of death with the intent of propagating a smear campaign against others, you are hurting and not helping the family. Please desist. The statement continues. There is only one official medical report which is in possession of the family, for the record. And while we will not dive into the details of such a report, why will you not do that? We can emphatically state that nowhere in that report is it indicated that cyanide or other deadly chemicals were detected as contributing factors to the passing of our beloved. Again, and for the record, if the family had any misgivings about the cause of death of our beloved, we would have said it without any equivocation. We would not need no family members or any online media outlet to do our bidding. These are times of immense grief and sadness. We respectfully ask the general public to please respect the privacies of the fallen hero by desisting from making up stories and throwing out wild and unfounded allegations that have no iota of truth. For the record, let it be stated clearly that at no time has the Yimpan family accused anyone of being responsible for the untimely passing of Senator Mobutu Yimpan. Specifically, the family attention has been drawn to the wild allegation contained in a publication by the Parrot online outlet. The story, as far as the family is concerned, is totally false from start to finish. Relative to the incoherent and baseless tirade by one Mr. Pausing Gatter, the same gentleman who was expelled from the family here for unruly behavior, the family wants to state that he is not a member of the Yimpan family, and we ask that he and his likes desist from disrespecting and dishonoring the legacy of Senator Yimpan. There is no shortage of spokespersons in our family to warrant us asking a person Gatter with no relations to the family to be our mouthpiece. While we welcome all sympathizers, we will not encourage or tolerate any sympathizers who so intend and objectives to spew lies, propagate innuendos, create confusions and hatred, and spread dangerous and slanderous falsehoods. We have lost a giant. We have lost the pillar of our family. We have lost an exceptional and distinguished statesman. We have lost a father. We have lost a wonderful gentleman. Kindly allow us to lay our hero to rest in an aura of tranquility and with the decency he deserves. It is morally reprehensible to use the pains and sorrows of a grieving family to achieve one's ulterior motives. As we are in the state of mourning with no interest in issuing a plethora of statements and press releases, we hope that this statement will serve as sufficient notice to the premise. Finally, the family wishes to thank the government of Liberia for its continued support. The family also appreciates the overwhelming support of the general populace during this time of unspeakable grief. May the gentle soul of Senator Mobutu Vla Yimpan, our DPS son, father, brother, uncle, nephew, cousin, and comrade, rest in perpetual peace. Signed, Mobutu Vla Yimpan Jr., son of the deceased, and approved by T. Ojukwu Yimpan, brother of the deceased, for and on behalf of the family. So, folks, there you have it, a statement from the family. Now, let's look at the politics surrounding this statement. I know you don't want to hear that. Earlier, I told you about whether Mobutu will honor immense pressure from sources within the government. We have reliably been informed that yes, Mobutu was under immense pressure by sources within the government who were not happy with him. They wanted him gone. And if anything that the paper is saying is true, you saw as I analyzed and displayed and read all the accounts reported by this story to you. The presence of Koji, along with Twe and Magay in the office, and, demanding that he made the road funds available and that he will go against the president mandate. Koji demanding a road contract is anything to believe or is anything that is true, and at some point Mobutu himself, you saw that as I read to you, he said, look, this thing is too much. I can't take it anymore. I mean, no one's going to dictate to me how I run my office. You saw all that. So these are all confirmation that Mobutu was on immense pressure by some top officials in the government. They were not happy with him and they wanted him to do certain things. He would not do it, and so they wanted to have their way. So yes, Mobutu was on immense pressure. So the pressure, could the pressure along with this other accusation that he was person, could these two things have triggered the stroke? And then with the person aspect of it, and some people reporting that was cyanide, and so the thing is, it comes to the whole medical report, which is the families. That's the main thing I told from the family here. We have the medical report. The medical report is saying otherwise. The paper is saying something different. The medical reports, in other words, is confirming that he has experienced stroke and that's how he died. So the issue of Mr. Mobutu Yimpan having a stroke is in the public domain. So if that is the cause of his death, why is the family hiding it? Why is the family hiding it? And sources also confirmed to Focus on Liberia that there is only one family member in possession of this medical report, and this family member, he is depriving other family member from seeing this medical report. He is depriving other family member from seeing, he's preventing other family member from seeing this medical report, and that person is Ojukwu Yimpan. Oti Ojukwu Yimpan is Mobutu's younger brother. He's an assistant minister at the Ministry of Finance. Now, some political intelligence going around is that, in fact, this statement was written by Samuel Twe and given to Mobutu, Ojukwu Yimpan, and he was instructed to make sure that that statement gets out there, hoping that that statement will be able to exonerate them. And if you look at that, and you look at the fact that the medical report, according to the family, that is completely contrary to the idea that he was poisoned, and the fact that the family will not release that medical report, tells something that maybe someone is hiding something. I believe that strongly, because if my family person experienced a stroke and having to be in an official of government and pass, I maintain, while it is true that the family can make a decision not to release it, but if that which you claim to be protecting, it is evident in the public space, and yet the public seeking confirmation. Why will you not do so? Why will you not do so more so when officials of government have been accused? And Yimpan having to be an official of government as well. His boss, Samuel Tue, is being accused. His boss, Nathaniel Magay, is being accused as well. Because the Minister of Presidential Affairs is more like, the person who directs the cabinet as well. I'm not sure if I'm right. Some time ago, we used to have director of the cabinet. I don't know whether we have it in this government, but into some respect, Nathaniel Magay as Minister for Presidential Affairs, and the fact that all ministries and agencies of government fall under his supervision, he is also the boss of Ojukwu. So his boss, Ojukwu's boss, 12 Magay, are being accused. And from what this family is saying, the medical report is different from what people are saying, which is that Minister Yimpan was poisoned, which is that Senator Yimpan has cyanide in his blood or in his body. That is completely false. Your bosses have been accused. You have a medical report that is saying that your brother did not die from poison other than a stroke that he experienced. Why will you not release it? And why will McGill and 12 not demand that the medical report be placed out there? Because the medical report, if what the family is saying is true, then it exonerates them. Because this going, the family does not need spokesman and blah, 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 and this, that. It's not going to call it medical report. That is the essence of the medical report. People's reputation at stake here. Your boss's reputation at stake here. Grave and serious allegation. And the medical report is saying that the man died out of the stroke he experienced. And you will not release it? This stroke that Mr. Yimpan experienced, as was reported, unfortunately, is in the public domain. This is the only thing that can exonerate your bosses. 12. This is the only thing that can exonerate you. Koji, McGill, this is the only report. And you guys will not demand, and you, Ojukwu, will dare not release a medical report that will exonerate your bosses for you to have a good working relationship? But folks, Focus on Liberia has been reliably informed by sources that the Ojukwu guy will not show this report to some family members. We have also been reliably informed that yes, Mobutu was under immense pressure. So let's bring in something here quickly also. Let me bring you something quickly. Has there been any official of government who might have experienced similar pressure from other officials of government? Because we got to look at pardon. Not only to establish truth to this, pardon may not necessarily be a confirmation of what happened, but it could well so be. I repeat, pardon may not necessarily be a confirmation of a particular incident, but it could well so be. And I'm looking for pardon about official or an official of government being pressured by other officials of government. Has that happened with this government? And I'm breaking that piece so that we can establish whether or not Mobutu was under pressure. Because there's a saying that if it happened before, it can happen again. If someone has done it before, another can do it. So let me bring you something to establish a pattern. DDG, that is Deputy Director General for Administration, and DDGA, that is Deputy Director General for Concession, aggressively entered my office and physically attacked me, pointing fingers in my face, insulting me, and violently banging on my desk. The DDGA stood in the visitor chair while the DDGC took comfort in sitting on my desk, continuing the banging and insulting me and my generation. The Liberian National Police had to get involved to bring the situation under control. Following the Malan, that was Melee, you might pronounce it Melee, but it's pronounced Malan. Now, what is Malan? That word is a skimmage. It's a scuffle, or it's like a fight. All right. So let me read that again. Where is it? Let me read like following the Malan, even though it's Melee, it should be pronounced Melim, but that is not the pronunciation. The pronunciation of that word is Malan. All right. So following the Malan, the president suspended Coman's two deputies. I continue. Coman had complained Daddy Gibson, Deputy Director General for Administration, and Nathaniel Bracewell, Deputy Director General for Concession at the National Bureau of Concession, to the President, alleging that they physically insulted, and displayed gross insubordination against him. Front Page Africa had gathered that Coman suspended deputies had accused their boss of nepotism and corruption at the National Bureau of Concession. Now, let me refresh some of you memory. There's a gentleman called Gregory Coman, former Inspector General for Police, Republic of Liberia during the Ellis administration. When President Weah took over, he was appointed by President Weah at the National Bureau of Concession. He was the chief at that particular agency of government. He's not a sedition. I don't know if he holds any allegiance to any political party. That is not to my knowledge. But we know Coman to have been this young man, even when he was coming up, his passion, his inspiration was public service. Not anywhere else merely, but with the Liberian National Police. I have close friends of his who will tell you how he really wanted to serve his country. Well, he used to love policing, as a profession. But that is besides the point. So President Weah appointed him to the Bureau of Concession as the chief there. And there, why he was there, because he was not a seditionist. There were two officials, two deputies, the deputy for administration and the deputy for concession. And their names, let me call their names again. That was Daddy Gibson and Nathaniel Bracewell. Because Gregory was not a sedition. Just as Mobutu has never been a sedition. If he joined CDC now, maybe that during this administration, but he was never a sedition. Mobutu came from the UPP. He's a UPP guy. At some point, they had a coalition or APD, all right? And so he has not been a traditional sedition. So for him to have faced this kind of pressure from, long-term sedition who are official in the government, there may be some truth to that. Why there may be some truth to that? Now, we see in this article by Front Page Africa, when Gregory Coman was in government, these guys went and kind of harassing these two officials of government who happen to be a member of the ruling government. They went after him. And let me read what they said they did. Aggressively enter my face and physically attack me, pointing fingers in my face, insulting me, and violently banging on my decks. They ordered to comfort in sitting on my desk, continuing the banging and insulting me and my generation. The Liberian National Police have to come in. Gregory Coman was escorted out of the back door. They pressured this man. They pressure this government, the man, and to the point that the president have to suspend these officials who having to be Gregory's deputies, who also having to be sedition. The president suspended them because why the day was completed out of they attacked Gregory physically in your office. According to these people, they said they accused Gregory of nepotism and corruption. Is that how you when somebody is accused of corruption, is that what you do? You physically attack the person and insult him and go in your office and sit in on his desk and insult him and his generation? If you think somebody is practicing nepotism and corruption, report the case and let the law take its course. But you are taking matters into your own hand. No, I'm saying this to say that there has been a pattern, and sources confirmed to us that Mobutu was under immense pressure. That Mobutu was under immense pressure to understand that Mobutu was even thinking about finding a way to come fortification and just leave the government. So, folks, that is all that I have for you. I needed to do a detailed explanation, a detailed analysis, ask questions here and there about this issue because it's serious. This issue has the propensity to scare qualified and competent Liberians away from their homeland to work in government. They has the propensity for people who are working in areas of integrity, like auditors. It has a propensity to silence them and not report any form of corruption. And when corruption becomes widespread in our government, little or nothing will be done in terms of development. And the ordinary people in our country will suffer. That is why this untold story of Mobutu's death needed to be brought to you, analyzed, and every piece of information in the public space be either questioned or revealed and analyzed so that you, as the people, can have the opportunity to make an informed decision and be in the know of what happened. I had intended to take calls, but I hit 2 hours. That is way too much. Usually my broadcast are 1 hour 30-minute max. But I felt that I needed to do justice to this story because this story is serious. Serious accusations have been leveled against senior government officials. And I needed to tell it all. Question every side. Bring what the family is saying. Bring what others are saying. Bring in what the government is saying. And so I hope I did not disappoint you in breaking this story for you in an analytical way for you to be able to know all of the pieces of information out there regarding Mobutu's death. And then you can be able to make your own decision. So because of time, I will read few comments and then I will close the broadcast. So bear with me, folks. Let me read few comments here. Let me read this one from Jean Zodwa. The government don't have to do a thing. The story have no evidence. Jivin Isma, right? The minister had a stroke. What establishes a link between his stroke and food poisoning? Have we not heard these stories before? Very good questions. Very good questions. Hold on, folks. Here, let me come here. I have. All right. So Nelly Jones, all what he's saying is not true. He's looking for the truth, but too bad for him. Mark Freeman, where did you get your news from, Mr. C, that the late Mobutu's food was packaged with his name on it? Somebody confided that in us here. That Koya's son, do you listen to the chief of security of the late minister? He said his boss was person. I have the recording. And we also have a recording here from the chief of security appointed by Mobutu. The man name is Cousin Gata. In the family statement, he was the one the family was talking about. Anthony Gilroy, is the government responsibility to protect all citizens. And I said that, so the government need to look into that and just not dismiss what this paper is reporting. Anthony Gay again, Mark Freeman, even President Weah has refused to have a press conference and to take questions from reporters, yet he goes to the church to spew divisiveness. Mark Freeman, if it's your conclusion, then you come out you come out of the line. Paul Dennis, not possible, my brother. He will expose them. Manfred Monsieur, you are yet saying that Honorable Wilson was in charge of seminal package discrimination. It's not the UNDP, no. Mark Freeman, Mr. Tapper was in charge, not UNDP. UNDP was not in charge. UNDP was a partner, and was not in charge on food distribution. Stop that. Jefferson Day, you are talking stupidity. Excuse me. All right. Nelly June, this man was at the hospital for 3 months. Nobody came out with this crap. No, Mobutu was never at the hospital for 3 months. Nelly, stop saying that. Mobutu was never at the hospital for 3 months. You have to follow that. John Wayne, Jefferson might know someone with a company and he gets a kickback from that company. All right. Jefferson Day, again, you are too good to talk stupidity. Mark Freedom, jumping from A to Z will not give you understanding. Go and do more research regarding this. You go and do more research too and come. And I'm telling you what people are saying and I'm analyzing it. See the big Mark Freeman got some energy here. So, folks, those are just a few comments there. I will now come to the conclusion of this broadcast. So, folks in cyberspace, I want to say again, I apologize. I can't take calls because of time. Time has caught up with me. I needed to do justice to this story. It's a serious story. It has so many grave and wild accusations and allegations in it. So I needed to treat it with the seriousness, that it deserves. I know others don't see it that way, but that is their business. I did mine, and I did it in a fashion I believe that has done justice to the story of Mobutu. And so, folks in cyberspace, this is how we will come to the end of this broadcast. My name is Anthony C, and I brought you yet another edition of the Hour of Politics. Bye-bye.